preparing to live stream the meeting.
It's live streaming now. We got the notice.
All right, over here it's looks like it's still there it is. It's all the way. So click on YouTube right here.
So
So
can you see? Do you see us on you on that in that browser?
it's starting to come in. The screen is loading up over here, and so there's a mute button at the bottom here that I don't see yet. It's buffering.
Okay. Well, when that comes in, then you should be able
Okay,
to.
I see. And so over here, all right. So okay, I did it, but I did it on the Zoom.
On the Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can still
So
hear you.
you
So
can still hear me. So if
yeah.
I click this at the bottom left, huh? That's where I'm going to see it. Okay, I did it, but I did it on the Zoom. So that's not the place to do it. Should I be?
Well, I mean, we can hear you and you can hear us, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, because when you say you did it on the Zoom, I'm not sure what you're saying, but
Uh,
let's
uh,
just see it. Let's. So far, I don't hear anything from the other medium, so
okay, so we must be good.
you
All
should
right,
be. We may be good.
let me do this invocation.
Okay.
I invoke the lotus feet of Nityananda, the supreme guru, and Muktananda, supreme guru, who is the blessing of all blessings, whose glance destroys all misfortune and bestows supreme good fortune. I evoke the guru, who is Parabrahma, the supreme absolute, who is free from stain and completely pure, whose presence easily bestows the state of Parabrahma. May Sri Nityananda, the goal of meditation, of the Siddhas, the foundation of Vedanta, the supreme witness realized through the wisdom of detachment, give us his blessing. May the supreme guru, Sri Nityananda, by whose favor man acquires new awareness, who transmutes his own inner Shakti into the disciple through Shaktipat and establishes him in perfection like his own, award me full success in the composition of this work. I bow to Sri Guru Nityananda and Sri Guru Muktananda, the Lord of my heart, that he may give me his blessings. Nityananda, Muktananda, who lives in the world of siddhas and yet pervades everywhere, who is pure, conscious, who is the pure conscious self, the divine power of grace to his disciple, whose grace is itself the knowledge of the individual soul's identity with the absolute. I pray to Sri Nityananda and Muktananda that he may bring his work to completion. Nityananda, Muktananda, Guru Maha Chipalasananda, who lives in the hearts of Siddha students, who is their supreme beloved, who enters them and works within them through countless processes of movements. For the perfection of my meditation, I bow to Sri Gurudev, the Supreme Father, who is beyond both diversity and unity, whose action reveals equality and awareness of the self of all, who easily bestows the state of perfection, and who is the guide of the Siddha path. O Guru, giver of grace, you yourself are the knowledge of perfection. I receive from you. You fully pervade everywhere, and Siddha students see you repeatedly in the blue pearl. O blue jewel, Bhagawan Sri Nityananda, Bhagawan Sri Muktananda, I bow to your lotus feet. You reveal yourself within the blue pearl, the instant that the ignorant notion of I and mine is destroyed. Meditation on the self is worship of you. Repetition of the mantra Soham is the invocation to you, and full surrender is the offering to you. The supreme bliss that pulsates in the wake of meditation is your pure essence. You are the adored deity of Siddha students, dwelling forever in the blue abode of the radiant cluster of consciousness in the Sahasrara. May Nityananda, may Sri Nityananda, the self of all and the goal of Thou art that, who dwells in Ganeshpuri and plays in the heart of Muktananda, shower on his Siddha students the nectar of supreme bliss and grant them eternal joy and everlasting peace. Sagruna Maharaj Ki Jai.
Ashe.
So
Ashe.
we on page
244.
244. and that's chapter 38.
Chapter 38, The Secret of Renunciation.
So you got that.
I got that. I might see if my Baba Hannibal wanna redeem himself this
I
week.
definitely want to be in a listening mode, in a student
Okay.
mode today, brother.
So your thing is froze. Okay, all right. Okay,
Who
go.
thing?
Yours.
Okay.
All right, unless
Okay.
you no.
Okay. So
Am I being heard?
I hear you.
yeah, we can hear you, beloved.
But
I wanted to take some time to just touch on this word
Renunciation.
renunciation and
uh-huh.
define it, because I think it's a very important experiencing that I'm having in my personal life, and I think this definition is key. I don't know.
Oh, wonderful. It's a powerful thing to understand, truly speaking. And that's go ahead. Say what you was gonna say.
Yeah, I pulled the definition, and it's very clear that renunciation is the conscious act of releasing what's attached to our desires and egos and outcomes. And I'm going to say that this is, I believe, the issue that I'm having with moving forward, releasing.
Mm-hmm.
And to understand that this chapter touches upon our ability to have that inner freedom and peace created or just attain it. And it's a difference between letting go life or the world and letting go the attachment. I think the point is letting go the attachment to those things of the world. And so as you go through this chapter, I really would like you to, build on that as it relates to us as we're going through things, of the heart,
Yes, ma'am.
why release these desires, these worries that are, controlling my thoughts, and how do I get to the point of being free and light?
Okay. I will. And I will be depending on and expecting your verbal participation as well. Okay. So as I do unpack it, I really want to hear so I can help progress with that more. And plus we have our Babas on here that's going to, and so yeah. And also my sister Naima, who's pretty much been with me all morning. Do you hear a constant theme from all of the what's going on, like this theme of letting go, sticking with this and so forth? You hear that theme?
Absolutely. Yeah. And putting together what you have. So, but yeah, definitely, letting go and, what you have, you've got to really hone in on what you've already gotten.
Yes. It's strong theme going on this morning. Can't be denied. And y'all didn't have anything to do with each other, but all the same wisdom is pouring through. So if Naeem was my witness, that's the truth for this morning.
Absolutely.
The delayed reaction in everybody is everybody getting a delayed reaction?
Well, it's delayed in. Are you looking at the YouTube feed, or are you looking directly into Zoom?
Well, right now on the screen is Zoom. So is that what it is?
No, it's just going to be delayed. In YouTube, there's a delay because it has to process and then feed over there. But in Zoom, it should be in real time. And if you're lagging because you got both those mediums open, so you may be lagging a little bit.
How can I close one, without messing up what we're doing?
Well, you even if you were to close your browser, I don't think it'll mess it up because you're still, because that streaming function has been initiated from the Zoom platform. So even if you close your browser where the YouTube is, you can close that and we'll still be streaming because it won't stop until you stop it from Zoom.
I just wanted to synchronize your words with what I'm seeing on the screen, but I get that out later. I don't want to put a whole lot of time in it.
Yeah.
This looks a little strange because it wasn't like that the last 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
it's like that now.
So I'm gonna come down. I got to come down there to you to help you get all that stuff in order. Then I got to fly over to San Diego to help some sit with hers as well. So yeah. So I'll make it my business to do that.
All right, great. So
All right.
so you can start with this chapter now.
Yeah.
We this is when we're supposed to be stopping, but we're starting.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
So I also let me also give a formal dictionary definition. Also, I love the definition that Kellyanne brought, and thank you for that lead in also, Kellyanne. The dictionary definition of renunciation: the formal rejection of something, typically a belief, claim, or course of action. And I love, because I love the way Kellyanne, her definition, brought it around to what we're doing, how it relates to what we are. So and what we've been hearing all morning as well is, rejecting, ideas that are not in alignment with where we're going. Bobby Hannibal was speaking about that earlier in today's meeting, and so I'm hearing that over and over. So that wisdom is really coming through its pillars this morning. So now so it seems this chapter is right on time. All right. So let's see. The Secret of Renunciation is chapter 38 of The Play of Consciousness by Swami Muktananda. So it is certainly true that through renunciation, one can find great peace. The Lord himself says in the Bhagavad Gita, let me see, Taya Gachantir Anantaram, which is endless peace comes from renunciation. However, there are differences of opinion on the meaning of renunciation and on the order in which things should be renounced. Some people renounce their homes, but they still weep because they are without peace. Some renounce their religion, but they still weep due to lack of peace. Some give up their clothes, rub their bodies with sacred ash, and become known as ascetics, but still they do not find peace. Some give up food and drink milk. They are called food renouncers. Some people renounce women, others their homes, others speech. But they are all still hungry for peace and have not attained any. From this, you can see that there are many types of renunciation. Everyday renunciants find something new to renounce. But it is depression rather than peace that they attain. The Lord says that peace comes through renunciation, and that is true. The question is, what should we renounce, and how should we renounce? Nowadays, there is more ostentation than sincerity in renunciation. Ain't that the truth? This irritates and frightens ordinary people. For them, piercing the ears and plucking out the hair are not devotion, but just another nuance. Many people, anybody want to say anything to any of those? Because I like where he was going with that, and it's true, because we see that just in a lot of people are going through a lot of emotions. I even remember one time when I had accepted my call to being one of the sons of ministry in my Christian church. Before then I was a DJ. I had been DJing for years and years and years. That's what got me through college. And so I had this whole music collection and all this stuff. And once I accepted, being a son in ministry, I gave up all my CDs and I, all my music and all this stuff, and I was miserable. I ain't gonna lie, I was miserable. So I can see where he's going with that. So in renunciation without true and specific dedication. So that's what it was for me. But I'm gonna let him speak. Anybody want to speak on anything on that before we move forward?
I would like to say something. This was key on the path, and I'm really feeling a little different about. I'm speaking aside now because I can't see y'all. I mean, this thing is freaking me out. It's like it's like a minute behind the scene. Anyway, the key to the spiritual path is renunciation. Not to renounce to renounce your wife or to renounce wealth, or it's to renounce your attachment to all of this. Annunciation is coupled with attachment, and once you renounce the attachment to it, you can move on smoothly. Because there were kings who didn't renounce the kingdom, renounced their attachment to the kingdom. There were, many people who had a husband and a wife, and you just renounce your attachment to them because all these things will go. Nothing is going to remain. And so it will bring you great misery if you're attached to your wealth or your wife or your children and so forth and so on. You get it's attachment that you really are renouncing, and
right.
And you renounce your attachment to your records
My
and
CDs.
you'd be right in the house, But by holding on to them, now you got the misery and so forth and so on. I was JD just last night. I said, "You better not die before me. Don't die before me. I got to go before you. I'm older than you, and all like this." This is a joke, yo. I don't see nobody laughing. And that's why this.
Well, that's going to happen anyway, Bobby, because she's a woman. Women outlive men. So just saying.
Yeah, man, I'd like to see us like I've been seeing us on the screen. What can I do to have us synchronized?
It seems like you may not be on the Zoom screen. You must be on YouTube for it to be lagging like that.
For it to be lagging like that, because there's are you looking at the Zoom screen like us on Zoom?
It says Zoom here.
If it says Zoom, it's probably not Zoom.
Yeah, because it's probably that. It says Zoom over on YouTube.
On YouTube, if you see Zoom.
So how do I get to see y'all without minute lag?
So go to your Zoom icon on your desktop and click on Zoom.
Yeah, go back to your Zoom window, your Zoom app window.
Now I see us and me too. Okay, thank you.
There you go. Looking in the wrong window. And for our YouTube audience, we'll work this out. So stick with us, please. Watch our growth.
I just want to touch on what Baba Elijah was saying. It's not about loss. It's not about getting rid of anything that you have an attachment to. It's about the freedom of thinking about it and being,
or it providing having anything to do with your happiness.
Right.
Yeah.
Not only that, in order to start manifesting, it also is connected with faith. That faith, that mustard seed like type faith. Like you say a certain thing, don't get attached to whether it's going to happen or not, because it's not you doing it. Your words, which are the words of God, because God gives us these words that we speak, because we don't have the power to speak, right? You say it and you let it go. You're in this pure state and you're in this state attached with the love of your own God self. That thing manifests, and it gets to the point where it manifests immediately. So it also is part of your manifestation, your manifestation power. You say what you got to say and let it go. Give up attachment to it. And many times in our own lives, we have seen this happen. We do something and we just keep doing the work and forget that we have done it. Next thing you know, we see that thing manifest in our lives. It goes deeper than just even giving up attachment.
Sure.
What does?
Yep.
Oh.
No, go ahead.
Babalaji, what does it look like to not be attached to a person or a thing? Is it an emotional thing, or what is it that when you say you're not attached to it, what does that look
Mm.
like?
Okay.
Because I don't, I'm just trying to figure out how not to be attached to like people
Yeah.
and
That lies in our expectations. So it's going to play out in what you expect. You know, a lot of times we hold people accountable by what we expect from them, which in turn makes us feel comfortable or something in their presence. Like something like whatever they do, somehow it affects us. So not to be attached, then they do whatever they do, but it should not affect you. But that's the difference between understanding attachment and connection. Connection is just saying, I still care about you, but what you do is of no consequence to me. So, but at the same time, being able to provide tools and any guidance that might help them out of their whatever they might be going through or help them through whatever they're going through, but without it affecting you. It shouldn't derail you. So you shouldn't, when we have elevated or over expect things from people, then what they do, it affects us. Just like if you're attached to a boat that's sinking, when that boat sinks, it's going to drag you down with it. You
But
see?
is
Yeah,
you say
and she's raising a real good point. I'm sorry, Carrie Ann. That is particularly a sensitive scenario there
Hmm.
when you're in a family and you have intimate relationship with your husband or your wife and your children, and when they have certain kinds of reactions, there is an impact on you. There's an impact on you emotionally. There's an impact on you
Sure.
psychologically. There's an impact on your feeling. It's an impact on how you go to work in the morning. If you may have started out in a smooth day and that impact hit you in such a way that that's on your mind, even at work. That's
Yes.
how deep these impacts are. So Naima is raising a very pivotal question of what does that look like?
Sure.
Not only that, but what does that feel like when it's happening in an intimate relationship? Because in an intimate relationship with family, it looks like you may not talk to your son or your daughter for 2 years. You may be holding on to feelings that you just detach, but you're still emotionally connected, right? Because
Yes.
you're not
Thank you.
reaching out to find out
Hmm.
what happened between us. How do we decompose this negative energy that have kept us from communicating for the last 2 to 3 years, right? So
Yeah.
she's raising a very, very pivotal question with regards to what does that look like in reality?
Enlighten us, Baba. Enlighten us.
Let me give you an attachment that is the deepest one that you could possibly detach from, and it could wreck your soul.
Hmm.
When you live with a Christ-like man or woman, and you got a personal relationship where they see you, they talk to you, live with you, you go to their house, and you know this is God because they showed you God within themselves. This is a very powerful attachment. I saw Baba cry one time about it. And, this is a very deep attachment because now you're trying to go for God. Your efforts on a daily basis, all day long, is going to your God self. You live with this person. You're living with this Christ-like person, with this sitter, and you love them like nobody else. If your wife died, that might be one thing, but if your guru dies, that's a whole nother thing. If your child dies, that might be one thing, but if your guru dies, it's a whole nother thing. There's no attachment that's going to beat out that attachment.
Now, but is that a righteous attachment? Is it healthy?
The thing is, you have to be detached even from that.
Okay.
You have to attach yourself to your God self, and the guru keeps warning you about it all the time. But the love that the guru is giving you is so gargantuan, it's so super duper powerful. It's a hard break because you live with this person, you talk with them. It's a back and forth, and it's like this is a different kind of love. This is real love. So that attachment is like the most powerful, and it's they talk about it in the Bhagavad Gita where Lord Krishna is talking about it to Janeshwar, and it's like it's almost as if only the wise understand this level of attachment. It's the only one that will be legitimate, let's say. But even then, you still have to disattach yourself from that because you are a Trinity. You are part of your mighty I Am Presence. That thing that we call the mighty I Am Presence is a Trinity, and you are an integral part of that Trinity. You have to let go of the mirage or the Maya that you experience in this life, and who knows how many countless other lives, more than 1 million, hundreds of millions of lives, right? You have to focus on the Trinity. That is, that's the only legitimate attachment that you really can have. Now, your guru is that same Trinity manifested in the form of that guru. Very difficult to let that attachment go. But even a guru will say to you, worship the guru within. Get attached to that. That's the only legitimate attachment. So the way I've worked it out is, look, you came to me, Baba, just like Bhagavan Nityananda came to him. You came to me. So you are that mighty I Am Presence in the physical form. You came here just to teach me. Now, everything that's going outside, I'm trying to tell your Sister Mother Naima, I'm trying to explain this thing on the highest level that it is, because it is the only real legitimate attachment. So what I did is I connected the two. Swami Muktananda, you are my mighty I Am Presence. I live with you. I loved you. My mind is not aware of my mighty I Am Presence except in the form of you. So and the truth is, they are one. And to give up that attachment, you have to give it up. Your attachment lies with your Trinity. But at the same time, you connect the two, so you still love your guru. You still attach. The guru's going to go. I'm telling you, that's not going to be an easy thing for you to deal with. If you get a personal relationship with a guru, imagine having a personal relationship with a Christ-like being. What would that be like? And if you had it, So it comes now to giving up wealth, giving up your child, your wife, your this, that, and all that. It's like peanuts. It's not even peanuts. It's like dust compared to your experience with a guru, where you're traveling with him around the world. You live with him. He's talking to you. He's giving you personal instructions that he don't give anybody else. And you got a loving, powerful relationship with the guru. Even seeing the guru sometimes would be like tears would come to your eyes. You got to kind of like control yourself because of this major love that the guru gives you. To lose that attachment is a difficult thing. And it's going to be one, if you're lucky to have that type of relationship, it'd be difficult to lose that. And the way I would...
Algie, let me ask you a question. On the first page, would it be correct if we made the secret of renunciation into a sentence, and I wrote, the secret of renunciation comes forth through one's attachment? Would that be an accurate sentence?
The secret of renunciation comes forth through one's attachment?
Mm-hmm. Renunciation.
Yeah.
Comes
I guess understanding your attachment,
the secret of one's renunciation comes forth through one's, renunciation of one's attachment.
What line is that?
No, I'm asking you, is that a correct sentence?
The secret of one
the secret of renunciation is the title of the chapter.
Right.
And I'm saying, if you made that based on what you just said, on your experience with your attachment with Swami Muktananda, right? And then you said you have to give that up, even that. You're living with a Christ-like figure. You've seen him cry. You're totally attached to him. How do you give that up? How does that come forth? How do you renounce that attachment to Swami Muktananda? How does that renunciation come forth? Is the inquiry.
You connect to your real self.
Mm.
You connected to your real self.
Well, he actually goes on. He talks about that in the second paragraph on the next page too. He mentions it.
Am I answering your question, Sister Mother Naima?
Well, I think as we read on, I will kind of put it all together. I've read the chapter, but it's just that it just doesn't seem to be any proof that you can really detach. Well, if I say I'm detaching, am I really detaching? How do you know when you've actually done it or not?
I can give you a good example.
Okay.
Let's say you have millions and millions and millions of dollars, something you always wanted, right? And then something else comes up that you consider way more than those millions and millions and millions of dollars. And you say, hey, bye. And you go to that, you detached.
But you just acquired another attachment.
Well, not necessarily attachment. You may not be attached to the thing that you wanted more than the millions and millions and millions of dollars, but you're not even thinking about those millions of dollars anymore. You're thinking about this new thing that you wanted. Does that make sense? No?
Okay. No.
Yeah.
Does it make sense to think about it as if when we pray, allow me to stop serving what doesn't serve my peace and my love. Like it's an act of saying this no longer serves me, therefore I'm gonna let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that letting things go, renunciation really it's like this. It goes into many different things. It's not just one thing. But I made that example because I always wanted money so bad, and when I got the greatest amount of money, once I saw something that I wanted more than that, I didn't even think about that money at all. I mean, it was gone. It was gone, gone, gone. What I had, I took with me and was like, okay, now we're on to this other adventure. I'm not even thinking about that anymore. Now, was it there? Yeah, I gave it to other people. I didn't even think about it. All I thought about was what I wanted. It was ahead of me, really, really, which was the guru. I left that money. I left the life. It was like, hey, I'm done with it. Now I needed money, but I didn't need money with the guru. He charged us for the first year $300 to live in the ashram for a year. And I'm like, hey, I have thousands. When the money ran out, I didn't think about it. I only said to my sister, it looks like I'm running out of money. I might have to leave here. And she told my friends, I didn't ask anybody for nothing. And money just came in the mail. And that's like a level of detachment. I'm going for this. I'm done with that.
Babalaji but nevertheless, isn't Dayamun indicating that that's another attachment? The inquiry is, I think, that Naima is raising, and Carrie is started off with what she's struggling with. I formulated the inquiry into the secret of renunciation comes forth how? And what you gave up, you gave up the money, but you became attached to Swami Muktananda. And that's the point that Amun is making, that you gave up one attachment for another attachment.
Right. But only this attachment is the only legitimate attachment.
Mm-hmm.
Yourself.
But it wasn't to yourself. You have grown to the point now that you're realizing it's yourself. But at that particular point that you gave up the money, when Swami Muktananda invited you to come to India with him, that became your attachment. It wasn't yourself. You detached yourself from what you loved, which was your money, and you fell in love with your magnetism and the presence of Swami Muktananda and became attached to him and went to India. And then you've grown into now a guru yourself. And now you have to instruct the students on the secrets of renunciation comes forth how?
Consider this, right? That wasn't all that I was attached to. I had a girlfriend. I used to call her Debbie the Beautiful because she was that fine.
All right.
And she got left too. You know what I mean? She got left too. And so now I've known Baba at this point, 3 months? So we left in, I think it was October. No, it was October, and I met Baba in June. So June.
This is June 76, right?
Yeah, August, September. I know him for 4 months. So the attachment wasn't that deep. I just wanted to be with the guru since I was a kid. And so the attachment grew more and more as I'm living with him more and more and more and more, because there was a break of time before we went to India to be with Baba. Now, this is a subtle thing, like I was saying before, that this feeling, this attachment to the guru, to this attachment to God, it's a subtle type of thing. It takes another understanding to understand this. It's like we could talk about love all day long, but until you have the experience of real love, which I tell you, the average person does not have that experience. The above average person does not have that experience. It's like, so what do I tell you about real love? What can I say? All the virtue is in it. It's a wave constantly. You know everything. Everything is right there for you. There's no negative feelings that come. Every person that you see with the eyes of love. I could talk about it all day long, but until you experience it, you really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You can say the same thing with sugar to someone who never had sugar. I can tell you it's sweet and use all kinds of words, but it's really an experience. This experience of attachment that we're talking about on this level is an experiential reality. And once you get it, you're in. Now, that don't mean when Baba took Mahasamadhi that I was unattached. What it meant was, or what it means is, when he let me know, I didn't go nowhere. I'm still with you right now.
Mm-hmm.
It softened the blow of the life experience. But I would say this, without a doubt, if you have a close relationship with your spiritual guru, which is your mighty I am presence manifested before you in the flesh, that is not going to be something that you let go easily. You don't never let it go. And if you don't let it go, it's the only legitimate attachment that will serve you.
I wonder if it's not letting it go. Is it just merging into that new being, like that new awareness of self? Is it?
You understand? Okay, she understands. That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Yeah. Well, and still, we must not forget that what we're talking about ultimately is renunciation. Just because as you increase your renunciation, you also increase your realization. And it's about realizing and making real what truly matters.
Exactly.
And in your renunciation, and it's like Baba Lauji started out saying, it is your attachment to things, and it's the false ideas that comes along with the acquisition of things, and also even the acquisition of relationships with certain people, even your family, even your intimate loved ones. There are false ideas. So how many times have we heard people say, I don't know what I'd do without you? You know, that's an enduring term, but it's dangerous to the soul. Very dangerous.
And I think about it, it's almost my ego that's saying, because I want to be attached to them, because I want to be great. I want to be honored for doing these things for these other people. So it's not.
Oh, that's not almost your ego. That's absolutely your ego.
You know, like this would be If you can't get over it, you will not incur any fault. Attachment to your God self, attachment to your guru, because this is like two birds, with the God and the guru, wing two uh, wings of the same bird. This right wing, this left wing. This attachment will not harm you in any way. It will.
But see, there are other words I think that are healthier to bring into it. But I think as we go through this chapter, it'll reveal whether or not these words are truly healthier. Because when we talk about attachment, I don't know if there is a such thing as a healthy attachment. All attachments to me are unhealthy. But there are other, like when we talk about the God self, there's a devotion and dedication to the realization of your God self. Now, are we still talking about an attachment when we say devotion and dedication to the realization of your God self?
It
You
matters.
know?
Like I said, renunciation has many tentacles. It reaches,
Mm-hmm.
and this is an attachment you don't ever want to lose. And if you lose it, boy, oh boy, now you're back in the game. Jaya and Vijaya lost it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was millions of years before they could get back to Vaikunta. No, you want to be attached to your God self. You want to be attached to God so that you cannot see a difference between you and him, and you live that. To you and it, and you live that. That is the attachment that you want, and you never want to let go of it. Because the moment you do, and let me tell you how you can let go of it: through arrogance, through vanity, through lust, through desire. You
So
let
other attachments.
or desires even, or
Yeah.
arrogance. You know,
Yeah.
So you could get into such an exalted state that you could become the very gatekeepers of God. And that exalted state that you consider yourself in, even though you're in it, I mean, you're in the final beatitude. You yourself are already in a God conscious state. And you could think that you get puffed up because you are the gatekeepers of God, and nobody could even come see God unless they go through you. And next thing you know, you live in a birth here as a demon. The attachment that you want is your focus and on God. Your focus on your God self that lives with you every single solitary paramanu, which is broken down into such an infinitesimal point that it's not even a second. You want to be united with God, attached to God at all times. That's the only legitimate attachment, and it is the key attachment for us getting out of this situation here. And once we get out, because don't think for 1 minute that you were not already in that state. You're going back. We are in the process of going back to the state of God consciousness where we're living in that love, where that love is in our mind, heart, and we're seeing and feeling every time we look at anyone, and they can tell, they can feel that we're seeing only the love in them. This is one attachment that you want, the attachment to your God self. And if you can see your guru as your God self, that the one that is within is the one that's right before you, this is good. But consider this also. This is the longest chapter in the book.
Yeah.
Understand, about attachment and renunciation.
Mm-hmm.
We, as we move on, I think it may come clear to you, Mother Naima, and but Kellyanne, I think you hit it on the head. I think you really, you're in the house with it. And as far as us who have not had the time to be with the guru, even if it's a week or a month, the guru always finds a way to get you and you alone to make you feel like I was here really just for you.
Mm-hmm.
Feel that in your soul. The next thing you know, it's like you go anywhere, wherever the guru may be. Hell, even if you know how bad it is there, you go there to find the guru. And hell is a place.
He in the previous chapter, there was an example used in the story of what's his name, Manu and Lila,
Mhm.
and
Majun and Lila.
Majun and Lila. Thank you. But remember, Majun admired and revered Lila so much to where he became, he basically, that was, so when we look at something like to that level, I understand why he was using that example. But like, this is how, that's your level of devotion. He was really talking about devotion to the God self. But in that particular story, there was an attachment between Majnun and Lila, right? There was an attachment, and so I think, you know, that level of admiration and desire to me was still unhealthy. But I understand, like, in a light of, this is how you should feel about your God self, your guru, the internal guru, right? So I can understand that. And
In the love for your beloved.
say it one more time, Bobby. What did you say?
You lose, like Majnun and Lila, they lost their self in the love of one another. You want to,
Sure, but that's an attachment.
For them, yeah.
Yeah.
But is it real love? Is it infatuation? You know, what is it? What is it actually? You know,
I don't. Yeah, but when you talk about that that level of love, I think you're completely right. It's not many people experience love for the true meaning of what love is. But even in that, Majnun his ego sought to identify itself through his attachment to Lila. You know, that's why he was like, you know, he would follow her no matter what. If she went to hell, he gonna go to hell.
yeah.
You know, but remember, but the key to attachment, the ego must still be somewhat in control. And so when we talk about ego identifies itself through attachments on things, situations, and also people. It identifies, and this is just me and my philosophy, but I'm still a student. I'm just going to throw it out here at the risk of, you know, also being corrected by my Babas here. But the ego identifies itself through its attachments, right? So, but the key though is to reduce ego. Ego to me is like that's what's in control until you fully realize your true God self. And then the ego then is no more. All your identity and now is in the real and the absolutely truth of self, right? There is no more ego. So then if there's no more ego, could there still be an attachment, or is this only realization? Because realization, you wouldn't have, there are no desires because there's no emotional going after anything. But there's the realization that I am already one with all. So I have everything. So there's no need to want it. There's no need to desire it. You see, so then there would be no attachment in the full conscious realization of self. So that's what I was, you know, that's why I brought up the Majnun and Lila thing. So when we talk about that level of attachment to where you give yourself up, even if it's your guru in presented itself in a person outside of you, could that also be a hindrance to your own true awakening?
If you attach yourself to your guru, to your God self, you will never go wrong. And that means you're completely devoted and completely you're completely in line, and it will take you to perfection. It will take you to ascension. It will take you to full realization. It is the only attachment that you could have that will do you well. And it is the one to keep. Don't let any emotion, don't let pride, don't let any thoughts or anything come between you and your attachment to God, which is yourself, which is your Trinity, which is your mighty I am presence, which is God. They are one. This whole play of consciousness is one being multiplying itself into gazillions of other beings to play Ring Olivia.
Okay.
You know, I mean, this is what we're doing. We're playing a game, but this is a whole nother game. You know, it is one, and all those beings are one. You know, there's a part in the book. I don't know how many of y'all may have read it. I know Sister Kellyanne didn't get the opportunity, but there's a part in the book where God, when God comes to the meeting in Shambhala, he locks in on Bhishma. And once he locks in on Bhishma, all the other godlike beings that are there are aware of it, and they all lock in them simultaneously. The moment that God locks in on Bhishma and he sees him, and Bhishma sees that he's looking at him, all the other beings lock in on him, and they all know what's about to happen. So they are one. When you get into arrogance, when you get into lust, and this can happen, it happens all the time. The scriptures, even Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, who Lord Shiva loves, right? Who is Lord Ram, right? Who he loves, took the form of a woman to kill these demons. He was so beautiful in his female form, right? That Lord Shiva popped up 5 heads as she moved around the place where they were at. And there's a story in Srimad Bhagavatam about this. And he gets attached to her. And they had to take Narada to come and say, look, you two, what are you doing? This you're the Supreme Lord over here, and you're the Supreme Lord over here. What are you doing? You know, and that's the only way they got out of it. At the same time, Narada, who was a mind-born child of Lord Brahma, right? He didn't have a mother. His father was he came out of the mind of his father, the creator. He fell victim to it too. Now, this is somebody that gets everybody, gets away from this, only go for God, boom, boom, boom. But God fashioned a woman for him to make him, lose his mind too. It's like your safest reality is to be attached to God, especially if you're on the path like we are now.
Okay.
That's an attachment that will serve you well and keep it and never let it go.
All right. I'm gonna take that, and I'm gonna use it as something I'm gonna kind of fester on, because I've unpacked this with my students before, and again, and I know I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and so I've always associated with attachment to a component of sensuous and emotional influence, and that to be opposite of the true realization of self, which remains connected without being attached. But again, and this just has a lot to do with what I've learned so far and my how I unpacked it all. But again, I've been brought back around before, so let me chew on what you said, because my whole thing has been to get completely rid of all attachment, but remaining connected and perfecting your connection, but ridding yourself of attachment. And so I've kind of put those two things in a certain place. But I hear what you're saying, Bob, and what you're saying is fascinating. I just felt like once we get to that level of what you're talking about, that level of realization, there is no attachment even to your God self, but there is a connection, but there's a realization that you are your God self. So there's no need to be attached to something that you are. You're not attached to it. But
so consider this.
Mm-hmm.
What then took you away from your God self? What then took you
ego.
away?
Ego is what took me away. The false ideas that there is something else. That's where ego is born, in that concept. The false idea that there is something else besides self.
When we started out this conversation, Baba Hannibal was talking about, should we just focus on this one thing and, just, go with Saint Germain and all like this? And I said, no, we should understand our focus. We're in the Siddha lineage, but we should out and enrich ourselves with other forms of knowledge to get a clearer understanding of life that we're living, right? And I would say to you, like I told you, I said, find a guru. This is going to be a powerful thing. Find a guru.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to change everything that you know and what you've learned. And I would then say, start reading the scriptures, which is easy for you because you're a bibliophile. Start reading the scriptures, because there's things that's in the scriptures that seem to make no sense. And then the next thing you know, oh, wow, now I see it.
Mm-hmm.
And
And that's happened before. So so I'm open to that too. That's happened before. So again, I'm still evolving.
Right. And for the audience, Babalaji, what I was suggesting is that we follow the outline of this sort of course that you have us on. I wasn't saying, we couldn't mix. What I'm saying is that Play of Consciousness, the book, is so laid out in such a way that we have an excellent outline, which is why I argued so firmly in our previous talk that we finish this book all the way to the end of Guru Maya's outline. And I was suggesting that, I use the analogy or the metaphor of the Force. Will we complete what Yoda was asking Obi-Wan Kenobi when he asked him that question? Does he complete what he has started? And I used the metaphor, you being a martial artist, I'm being a martial artist. You went from a white belt to a yellow to a brown to a black. And then eventually, you can go up to the red. But the point is, there's an outline of this path. There's an outline in Play of Consciousness that is outlined. And then when we go all the way to Guru Maya's page, she says further reading, right? And then she gives an outline of Swami Muktananda's The Perfect Relationship, Book of Nityananda at Ganespuri, where she is taking us deeper to go back and go into his outline on the perfect relationship, and then getting more information on Book of Nityananda at Ganespuri. And then she lays out her outline on Smile, 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 Courage and Refinement, Ashes at My Guru Feet, the Yoga of Discipline, and Enthusiasm, and My Lord Loves a Pure Heart. I was saying that is an outline that you have introduced us to through this manuscript. And that's what I was suggesting. I was suggesting, that we follow the outline, and we can do it. We can come back to following the outline after you do volume 19 of the Ascended Masters on supply.
that's not
I was suggesting that we keep our audience focused on an outline, because it's so many Sanskrit words. There's so many references when we talk to you. Like, look how long this old talk is just on the one word attachment. When you brought up, it is the renunciation of attachment. Look how deep that conversation went. I'm saying that this outline that you have us on, and the Play of Consciousness for the civil student, is full of volumes of depth that I was suggesting we stay focused on.
consider this. When in the 70s, when we were living with Bob, and we're in Ganespuri, Bob had a program that really gave us enough room to have a little bit of leeway, but that program was tight. We're chanting, we're worshiping, doing pujas and work or this, that, and the other, tight. And he really didn't encourage people to do a lot of reading, like I said before. But he did not do that with me. He was like, with me, with you, and he did like this. With you, I want you to do this. And so, as soon as I came into the ashram, the first month, I saw all those books, and I was like, I'm getting all those books. And I got all the books. That's us. That's me and you, Diamond. We're bibliophiles, and that's what we do. But when I got in the ashram, I was like, Baba said he don't want people reading books. I'm done with it. But when I got sick, he said, I want you to do this. So I'm following this line because I am meant to put together some things, not just this. So I'm realizing that this is what the Guru was telling me. And and so I'm moving in that same path. Look, Sri Aurobindo and what's the brother that you like so much? We got his book right here. What's the brother that you got into as we started moving into this Gurdjieff? That knowledge doesn't hurt us. It adds to the other knowledge, and it even gives clarity to some of the knowledge that we're with. We waxed and waned on this subject of one word, and still Mother Naima is saying, well, I'll get it, let's read on it, I'll get it, like that. So it's like that. When I read the Mahabharata, the first, actually the Bhagavad Gita first, I'm like, why is this guy, he's a warrior and he don't want to fight? Arjuna, he don't want to fight, I don't get it. Krishna's telling him to go fight, man, go ahead and fight. But I'm 15 at that time when I'm reading this. And I didn't know that the Bhagavad Gita was a tiny part of the Mahabharata. It wasn't even a chapter. It was just a part. And I didn't realize Arjuna is about to kill most of these people. These people on the other side, they won't even let nobody kill him but Arjuna. They was that bad. There was these type of warriors they call Atirathas and Maharathas. I didn't have that understanding. So as we gather more and more knowledge, the knowledge that we have becomes, it can actually take birth. We think one thing, and because we add all this other information to our reality, now it's a whole nother thing that could literally free us from something that holds us behind or stops us even from attaining full realization. Let's say 10 years from now, we're still alive and our bodies are not serving us very well. Now we got the Kali-Kalpa formula, and we got 10 years to work that Kali-Kalpa formula so that we could rejuvenate all our bodies back to 21 years old. To me, see, this is deep. And does that help us get to realization? That's exactly what it's for, to help us live longer so that we do attain, because our karmas are vast and we don't know how vast they are. Anyway, what I would like to do is move on to the second page, and maybe we could get through something, because this is like, what, 18 pages, this chapter?
This 20 pages. This chapter is 20 pages long. But I figured let's at least go to the bottom, get to the bottom of 246, because that begins a lengthy story that he'll be getting into.
Okay, I understand you. Go ahead. All right.
Yeah, so I'm saying just for today, if we can get to just go to that part, and then we can, because at that point he'll be making a longer point that's going to take several pages, and I didn't want to break that up.
Okay,
if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm at the top of page 245. All right. So many people think that if you live an ordinary life in the world, there are no means for you to find peace. Renunciation is necessary, absolutely necessary. They think that if you want peace, you must live in a cave or a forest or on top of a mountain and torture your body. These mistaken ideas about renunciation have spread all over the world, but the truth is that through the yoga of meditation, it is possible for all people to quiet their minds. There is another common misunderstanding among people who live in the world. They think they have a moral obligation to live only for their families, their houses, and a series of dreary pleasures, and that meditation, renunciation, and yoga are exclusively for siddhas. For sadhus. Am I saying that right? Sadhus and ascetics who have renounced their homes. But Muktananda says yoga, meditation, and renunciation are meant precisely for those who live in the world, who have wives, husbands, and families, who have factories and industries, wealth and property and homes. There is no doubt that renunciation is necessary. But what do we mean by renunciation? There are mendicants who wander around crying, renunciation, renunciation. There are innumerable sects who literally live on the label renunciation, who use the word renunciation as a mantra, who maintain their identities by means of the outer trappings of renunciation. But there is still no attainment of peace. Renunciation is essential if you want peace, but it has to be of the right kind. Krishnanath renounces Ramanath's hat and then looks for the chariot from heaven as reward for his renunciation. This is not renunciation. A beloved devotee once gave me a book by an unknown Russian saint. It was excellent, but in describing how he sets off on his pilgrimage, the Russian yogi says, "I have become a complete renunciant. In my bag, I have 2 pieces of bread and the Bible. I have a shawl to cover myself, and that is all." In India, too, there are renunciants like this. These complete renunciants will eat only when the food is put right in their hands, and if it isn't, then they stay hungry. Some even keep a man running after them from morning until night, holding their food, which, if they feel like it, they may decide to eat in the evening. Someone I knew met one of these renunciants, and he said to me, "He's such a great renunciant. He eats only if he is fed. He has half a dozen people around him to make sure he gets everything he needs." I replied, "Brother, I think I am more a renunciant than he, and a more practical renunciant too. I have renounced the 6 men who are kept standing around to attend to the needs of one. I eat punctually every day and put the food in my mouth with my own hand. At the normal rate, each man must be paid 2 rupees a day. That means 12 rupees for all of them. Isn't it ludicrous to keep 6 men from their work and call yourself a renunciant? I eat without any help, surely not to be dependent on half a dozen other people's renunciation." At this, the man was silent. There are many kinds of renunciation, but we should look at the people who practice renunciation and ask ourselves, what have they gained? What they have gained from it? Why has that peace, which the Lord says come from renunciation, disappeared? Senseless people's renunciation reaches its peak when they will eat and drink only when food and drink is given to them. What have they got out of all this? Where is that peace, that freedom of pure joy? A sensible man will use his brains without renunciation and ask himself what there is in this world that is really his own, and that he is therefore at liberty to give up. In India, there is a form of worship in which an innocent sheep is brought forth brought before the goddess and killed. The foolish people who practice this type of animal sacrifice offer the goddess the head of the sheep and expect a reward for themselves. This is a contemptible form of worship. It is a great pity that even the priest thinks that benefit can be gained by someone else's sacrifice. This kind of worship is completely senseless. One's renunciation has to be intelligent, honest, and properly thought out. Otherwise, it is of no value. If you leave your home to go and live in a monastery or in the jungle, then all you've done is change your house. If you give up white clothes and wear red ones, then all you've done is change the color of your clothes. So that's why I wanted to stop at just right there, and because he's about to get into something. But this, when I read this part before, what came to mind was Buddha. Remember, in his search for peace, for enlightenment, he ran into many gurus who told him to give up so many things. He even got to a point to where he was eating 1 grain of rice a day and became emaciated and stuff like that. And he done these yoga postures. He did all kind of things. and it was different schools of thought. And so, but he found no enlightenment until he sat under the Bodhi tree and meditated. Okay. And this is when he found enlightenment. This is, so I can see his renunciation of all those things he had gone through before brought him no peace, no realization, no enlightenment. And so I can see where Baba was going with this. And it's very profound, very profound. But I'll stop there and just open it up for comments and questions or whatever.
Anyone?
So, ladies, the brothers are being late. They obeying you guys, right? They're not being out from there. They sitting back waiting.
I know you must be ready to talk, though. So I was saying, okay, I know the brothers got something to say. But I think what I see, too, about this is in your renunciation, you can't be wasteful. Because you can't waste other human beings on serving you because you're renouncing. Because in one of those examples, he was really wasteful in the energy of other people running around trying to give him food instead of him just eating, So it's just very wasteful there. And also, it seems like when you renounce, you cannot be renouncing and at the same time be suffering, because a lot of the renunciation seems to equate to suffering. And from what I gather, you cannot suffer because that's not a state of peacefulness and happiness. So that's what I kind of got out of your reading there.
Mm-hmm.
What I realize is this is why I say renunciation has many tentacles. It reaches into different things. It's like, so there was this saint. Her name was Anandamaya Moy, a friend of Baba's, right? Mm-hmm. She was like this person that she didn't eat. If you didn't put the food in her mouth, she wouldn't eat. She's a fully realized saint. And she had devotees that they did that. If you didn't give her food, she was not going to eat. It's just that simple. So they gave her food so she could stay alive. Now, then you go to the other side, Baba, and the City Yoga is like a blue chip company. It would be considered there's so much money that it would be considered a Fortune 500 company. Baba never touched money. If he gave money, he wouldn't touch it. Why? He told us. He said, because I used to carry a wad of money with me wherever I go, and then I realized, what that was about. So stop touching money. Mm-hmm. Somebody gave him money, put in a basket. Somebody gave him fruit. It was the same. He had a non-attachment, a different attitude toward it. But we got Anandamaya Moy, who is a powerful, great siddha saint, female saint. And if you didn't give her food, she's not going to eat.
Maybe she wasn't suffering. Maybe she was fine.
No, she wasn't. So I don't think that.
Maybe she was happy with that. So that was her peaceful state.
She's a siddha. She's a realized siddha. She's in a God conscious state. Here's what I'm saying to that. The person that Baba was describing was not fully realized. It wasn't a saint. You understand? Not fully realized. At the same time, Baba would make fun of Meher Baba. I don't know if y'all ever heard of Meher Baba. He was another saint. He was a renunciate like that. And he used to play with him. Saints, you can't really judge or even figure out the attitude of saints, of real God conscious men. There was one of Baba's great friends. He was the one who told him to go to Bhagavan Nityananda, Harigiri Baba. Total avatar, not avatar, what do you call it? A Gauri. So he'd walk around with layers of coats on in India. Now, India is hot. I mean, really hot. And he'd be walking on the side of the beach and pick up a rock, a great treasure. This is what he was. And he'd have rocks in his pockets, okay? Everybody is looking at him like, Cuckoo boy. But this is a great saying. So he'll take a rock, give it to somebody. It's a great treasure. Next thing you know, their life is filled with treasures, wealth, this, that, and the other, whatever it is they want. He'd pick up rock, and I'm surprised. In fact, he spoke about it in the beginning of this book. It was insignificant in our mind, but Baba talked about how he agreed with Baba, how he would pick up rocks and oh, what a great treasure, and put them in his coat and carry all these rocks around, and then give them to people, and their lives were blessed with what they wanted. To kind of judge a siddha or ascended master is way out of our league. It's really way out of our league. But
well, so, I mean, I know I've been living as a renunciant, I guess, all my life, because as a kid, I consciously renounced the use of drugs and alcohol. As a kid, I did this, and it had a lot to do with looking at, I always associated violence and everything with those substances, because as a kid, when I saw, whether it was what I now know to be domestic violence or any kind of violence, I've seen people killed right in front of me as a kid, stabbed and shot and all this other stuff. There always seem to be drugs and alcohol somewhere at the helm of that. And so that's why as a kid, and I mean, when I say kid, I'm still in elementary school, no further than the first grade, when I said I would never, ever be like all these things I see in my environment, because it was scary as a kid to see all this. And I was like, I don't want this in my life or following me. So I'm not going to do drugs. I'm not going to do alcohol and so forth. So and at 52 now, I've actually stuck with that, So I guess, but it's definitely been beneficial, because even here, I think what in these paragraphs, what this has led up to the profound, admonishment that he puts here. He says one's renunciation has to be intelligent, honest, and properly thought out. Otherwise, it is of no value. So everybody's renunciation is personal to them, and it should be something that removes limitation or gives up your fight to realize self. Yeah. So
just what you just said to renunciation. There's other people who've taken the burst of demons and they were already fully realized just to get back to God quicker.
Mm-hmm.
They were so attached to God, and they were in the God conscious state. They were already fully realized when they fell from grace. It's like it's a very mysterious thing. I'm gonna tell you, it's a very mysterious thing. And as you gather more and more knowledge, as we gather more and more knowledge, you get to see the length and depth of renunciation. But one thing for sure, your attachment to God will never lead you astray. It's the one attachment that will benefit you forever. And we got to say forever, because we're immortal beings. And see, there was a time that we let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are now trying to get back.
That brings up a very profound question, though. And this is just something, it's just a question, Baba. So if you don't renounce it, does it automatically equate to an attachment?
If you don't renounce what?
Whatever. Like let's just say we have things that we have to renounce. Like I think somebody who's strung out on drugs should renounce drugs, right? Because that's an attachment. But there are other things that they enjoy, maybe like cupcakes and food. Maybe their favorite food is macaroni and cheese. Maybe they didn't renounce those things. But does it just because they don't renounce mac and cheese, does it automatically mean that it's an attachment? As just an example, because we there are still things that we still enjoy and experience throughout the world, but it has no bearing on whether or not we reach our full realization. And so those things, just because we don't renounce it, does it automatically mean that there's an attachment there?
I think we've waxed and waned on this particular subject, and what's going to happen in regard to us understanding it is going to be our direct experiences. And that
Okay.
could be just reading a book. You could read the Ramayana, and what blew my mind was when Jaya and Vijaya, because that's who we are, right? We were in that holy realm. We were already attained the final beatitude and was with God in Vaikuntha, in the highest realms. How do we get here? How do we get here? How do we get here creating egos that we totally identify with and think it is ourselves? We did something. And or maybe we were cursed. Maybe we said, you know what, I'm gonna give this up to go down there and play, just for a little while. I've heard stories where this is what happened to Satan, that he took on this position, and they wouldn't let him go from it. They said, you got to stand, and he got really angry. But that's a whole nother story. What I'm saying is, as we move in our lives toward getting reunited with our God self, we'll understand some of the things that are not understandable.
Sure.
Yeah, because
And I
it seems
also
like
think,
the
Babalaji, that and there among that he asked on page 246 in that paragraph of Deabum, that paragraph, the first one on page 246, where he indicates there are many kinds of renunciation, making the point that Babalaji is making. There are many kinds of renunciation, but he closes that paragraph with a profound question. I highlighted it and underlined it in red. A sensible man or woman, he doesn't say a woman, but I always put a sensible human being. If I was editing it, I will take out that man-woman talk and start making it a little more human and politically correct in our language in the 21st century. A sensible person will use his or her brain about renunciation and ask herself or himself what there is in this world that is really his or hers, and that he or she is there for at liberty to give up.
What line is that?
That's a very profound
That's
question.
the final sentence in that first full
Yeah.
paragraph on 246.
Yeah. And
The first full paragraph.
it takes that question itself, I believe, takes meditation. Because he's asking you to be honest, to ask yourself, in this world, which he has already said in the previous chapter, that the whole universe, you have to perceive it as an illusion, right? So it's a continuation of the, you have to look at this play, that the whole thing is an illusion. Right? And he's picking up on this, and now he's challenged you to ask yourself, what in this world do you really own?
Sister Naima, you were going to say something?
Well, now that Baba Hannibal made that point, that is just really makes a lot of sense. And it seems like with things and even humans, we put our ego into those things, which stops us from being able to really be sensible, as Baba Hannibal points out here, because then we could give everything up in this renunciation. We wouldn't be attached to the things that we do, that we're around, if we think of it in this regard. I feel like that kind of opens my mind up a little bit better and make an understanding of what disattachment looks like.
Bhagawan Nityananda walked around with no clothes.
Yeah. I've seen the pictures.
Like this all the time. So he put nothing in his hand. In other words, he's saying, I'm taking nothing. I own nothing. I got nothing. But he built many things, and including Ganeshri, including in Kerala, in the south of India, and all kind of stuff. But then these are sitters. These are real. They're giving us examples of real renunciation. And Baba, he's living in a palace, and Ganeshpur is like a palace. You know what I'm saying? And then there were other kings. You know, this thing goes deep, as I was saying. But there was one thing I wanted to say, and I got sidetracked. Nonetheless, as we move through this chapter, which is the longest chapter in the book, so Baba did consider it very important, we're going to come to a deep understanding. Now, I wanted to ask, that's what I wanted to ask. Do we end at 1:30? Do we end at 2 o'clock? Because we did start late, and I know you'll have things to do. So tell me.
Yeah,
I would
1:30 is a nice idea.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I said 1:30 is a real good idea for me.
Okay, so that's 10. So I want to read this one page in the next 10 minutes, and we see what we get out of it.
Well, we're going to end up stopping in the middle of a point he's trying to make. That's why I wanted to stop where I stopped before we get into this point and cannot complete the point he's trying to make.
You're talking about the story of the emperor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just see. It may,
Okay.
let's just see.
Yes, sir.
Emperor of renunciation.
Okay.
King Divya.
So you're picking up on page 246, that last paragraph?
Last paragraph.
Okay.
Story of his renunciation, which appears in the Yoga Vashishta, which is a wonderful scripture to read. There's Yoga Vashishta and Laghu Yoga Vashishta. Wonderful scriptures to read. I definitely encourage you all to read them. It really keep pointing to and keeps pounding the point. You are God. You are God. You are God. Anyway.
Text that to us, Baba.
I'm sorry.
Text that name to us.
Oh, text the name. The Yoga Vashishta, right.
Yeah, later on.
Okay. The story of this renunciation, which appears in the Yoga Vashishta, is worth thinking about. The story of his renunciation is the story of a true awakening. It claims the mind and gives supreme peace. Although the king, Srikandvivya, was a very religious man and an earnest seeker, he really wanted to realize the supreme truth. Day by day, his longing increased. He used to see many saints, Mahatmas, sages, and seers. And in addition to these faithful and devoted associations, he practiced sadhana. His aspiration grew all the time, and his yearning for God eventually became so strong that he felt desperate. Having tried various types of sadhana, he finally came to the conclusion that he would not attain anything without renunciation, that there could be no peace or equanimity without renunciation, and that renunciation was the most direct way to truth for all time. He thought long and deeply about what should be renounced and when and how he should renounce. He finally decided that he should first of all give up his throne. He decided to entrust the throne to his queen and himself go to the forest. He called his beloved queen Chudala and told her everything that was in his heart. He said, I can't live without the peace of the self. My ignorant heart is always frightened by the world. It is only my pride in being a king that gives me my substance. When I sleep like every man. And when I eat like every man. Is there anyone in the world who has not been devoured by time? How foolish it is that I still desire to live. Why should I give up this perishable and transient life now? Why shouldn't I give up this perishable and transient life now when I have to leave it after death anyway? Oh, my queen Chudala, my most beloved wife, you have done many things for me. And now I ask you to do one more. Take care of the kingdom so that I may go and find peace and contentment and put out the anguish in my soul. The queen knew perfectly well what was going on in the king's Srikandvivya's mind. She had followed the path taught her by her guru and had perfected the yoga of meditation, through which she had gained the knowledge of past, present, and future. She felt that the king's idea about renunciation were mistaken, but she knew that mere reasoning would not make him understand. He would understand only according to the state of his mind. Therefore, she agreed to let him go. Queen Trudala was perfectly capable of ruling the kingdom fearlessly. Indeed, for anyone who had been blessed by Chitty and in whom spiritual wisdom had arisen, the business of running a kingdom would be an ordinary matter. The Pratyabhidra Hridayanam says, Bala Balalabe Vishvam Atma Sakha Bruti. He who has acquired the strength of Chitti can assimilate the universe into himself. Since the whole universe consists of the vibration of Chitti, and Chitti has come to live in her heart, there was nothing intimidating about ruling the kingdom. She knew the world as an assemblage of rays of Chitti, and the same as her own self. As a result, she conducted the affair of state faultlessly and in the best possible way. The king went off and lived in solitude. He found a cave in the forest in the Himalayas, built himself a hut, and started his divine sadhana of meditation, concentration, mantra repetition, and asceticism. However, the stricter the discipline he set himself, the more restless he became, and the more uncontrolled and unsteady his mind. Here, Muktananda says that man can find happiness by living in accordance with his station and upbringing. If he goes against this, then he will find suffering, even in happiness. For example, I once had some beautiful and entertaining, for example, I once had some beautiful and entrancing cows at the ashram. And out of love for them, I used to feed them all sorts of fruits and sweets that were brought as offerings. As a result, these grass-eating creatures began to get sick. He used to feed it to the elephant too. Every creature finds happiness within his own eating and living habits. This was naturally true of the king. For most of his life, he had enjoyed the luxury of opulence of a king. Now he was dressed in bark, living in straw huts, sleeping on deer skins, and bathing in cold water. He was eating roots and fruits and practicing austerities. As a result, his mind became more and more disturbed. And the more disturbed it got, the more restless he became. He was experiencing more and more intensely agitation instead of peace, disharmony instead of equanimity, and melancholy instead of bliss. However, since he was a true seeker, he persevered. He thought about renunciation all the time and about what he should give up next. He would think, Hastananam Taram. Peace follows renunciation. And since I haven't found peace, it must mean that my renunciation is not yet complete. His queen, Kutala, was a great yogini. Through the Chitti Shakti, she had attained omniscience, and her yoga was so powerful that she could travel wherever she wanted in the Blue Pearl and assume anybody she chose. For a long time, she had understood her husband's inner state, but she had not been able to impart any of her wisdom to him since he thought of her simply as his wife. She knew she had to wait for the right moment to explain things. If the time was not right, her advice would not be effective. So she refrained from waiting in peace. However, through her meditation, she knew everything that happened to the king, everything he had did and did not do. Meanwhile, the king went on renouncing more and more. He now ate only fruits, initially every 2 days, then every 3 days, then every 5 days, and his body began to shrivel up. It made the queen very unhappy to see him like this, and one day she could contain herself no longer. She changed her body through her yogic powers and, taking the form and name of a sage, Kumbha, appeared before the king. At the sight of this unknown sage, the king was struck with wonder. He bowed to the sage and arranged a place for him to sit. The sage asked the king how he was, and the king told him everything that was happening inside him. At the end of all this, he said, "Oh, sage, I have found peace yet. Can you show me a way? Kumbha replied, King, there is only one mantra. Peace follows renunciation. And with this, he disappeared. When he heard the sage telling him that peace follows renunciation, the king was more astounded than ever. He thought, I don't understand. What is there left to renounce? I haven't given up. I have given up everything, starting with my throne. I gave up the riches, poverty, power, glory, happiness. I gave up my attachment to my family and friends. I live in a grass hut in a mountain cave, and yet this sage comes to me, tells me peace follows renunciation, and vanishes. What else can I give up? Because the king had not understood the real meaning of renunciation, he had not renounced what he should have had, what he should have, and had renounced what he shouldn't have. 2 minutes over. We could stop here unless you want to continue.
No, I got to get in here and get to my household stuff.
We'll pick up from here next week.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds like a plan.
This story is
this is a nice story.
Yeah, it's in the Yoga Vashishta too. So if I'm going to send it to y'all,
Okay.
Yeah, next thing I know, I'll be done. Forget that I'm supposed to send it to everybody. Yeah, the Yoga Vashishta. And in fact, man, let me show you this because I read a few Yoga Vashishtas, right? And
Yeah, some of these chapters are Lalji chapters there. I know. we got to go through and say, wait, Baba Lalji, this is your chapter.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So yeah, it's good. I mean, this is a good. I thought it was very wise for him to add such a chapter to this book because, this is something that we have to talk about what we have to renounce and what we give up.
if y'all get the Yoga Vashishta, I would advise getting this one. I read a few. This is the one. I think this is the nicest one.
Mm-hmm.
This is they got the Lagu Yoga Vashishta, and it's by Swami Venkateshananda. He would come to the ashram in India, but he used to live in South Africa, and he's a devotee of Sivananda. That was the ashram I went to when Baba passed away in the Himalayas. I went there for a while, and this is a really enlightening. The story is also really good. It's in here, as Baba said. It's called the Supreme Yoga. So
you have an older edition, and Baba Hannibal got a.
Yeah. I just want to make sure the audience could see the way it's coming out now, Baba Lalji.
There's no more hard copies. Oh man!
Well, brother, this is the 21st century. But it's 2 volumes. It has all of the plates and everything.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that he's in that, and what they did with the cover of it from the hardback.
So this is the Supreme Yoga, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is the Yoga Vashishta by Swami Venkateshananda.
Right.
And he was a great guy. He looked so brilliant. He's such a pure yogi, and he had devotees, and he would come out. This is him, the handsome guy on the left. I don't know if it's Shukriya's left, but this is him, Swami Venkateshananda. Anyway, really, really pure soul. And so just a tiny little background on the Yoga Vashishta. See, Lord Vashishta was the guru of Sri Ram. And he's also, Vashishta is like an immortal being, and he couldn't wait. He got the boon from Lord Brahma to be the guru of Sri Ram when Sri Ram came to the earth. Now he's in the Satya Yuga, he's in the golden age, in the first age. And he had the boon to be with the teacher of Lord Ram in the Treta Yuga, which is the third age. So you got the Satya, you have the Dwapara, which is the second, and the Treta, which is the third. He was so powerful, he got tired of waiting for the Treta Yuga, and he switched the ages. He had the power to switch time. And so what this really is the story that a supreme guru was given to the supreme Lord of the universe, Lord Ram, when he was 16 years old. So there's also, and there's other scriptures called this Maha Ramayana, which is the Yoga Vashishta too. You know, so the Ramayana is a lot more vast than it appears. But this is, I think it's real sweet. You got really, really good stories in here. Really, really good. But
All right,
so
I'll make it my business to get that one too.
All right.
Yes.
So there's no Bob's Hannibal, no more hardcovers.
No,
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but they will love the stories like you're doing. Like, and I said when you went to get the books, I said the day I said some of these chapters when we review it, we got to let each other know that this is a Babalaji's chapter.
Indeed.
And this is another one of them. This is that only Babalaji can really take us into the depths of some of these chapters. And
Well,
this is one of them.
I think that, you know, as we just begin, all of us exploring, we add in, you know, we all just add questions and stuff like that, because things that we knew before, we forgot now, oftentimes. And stories will spark it up. And then things that we know, and we may read something new and would be like, oh man, that makes this what I've been wondering about so clear now. You know what I mean? So, you know, Hannibal, you know. Anyway, it was wonderful meeting with y'all this Sunday again.
All right. Yeah,
Likewise, likewise.
Nice. Thank
It's been
you.
a full morning.
Thank you, Babalaji, for the reading. It was a very nice chapter.
Did everybody get the title?
Yes.
Do I need to send it? Do I need to send it to Mother Naima? Do I need to send it?
No, because I didn't realize when you before you started that it was also written in the book, because it talked about it, but I have it, the Supreme Yoga.
And if you
can, the Yoga Vasishta. Yeah, I have it written here.
If you can, get it by Swami Venkateshananda.
Yep, I have his name.
All right. Diamond, so we pick up on 250, continue with you next Sunday.
All right. That sounds good. All right. Thank all of you for allowing me to engage you this morning. And been a full morning.
Well, I'm going to close with Saguna Maharaj Ki Jai. Assalamu alaikum and namaste.